Good morning, everybody. It's probably about 10 o'clock Saturday morning. It's about 19 degrees. I just walked out into the shop, just got my lights on. They're a little bit dull because the fluorescent lights, I guess the gases in them, they're cold right now, but they'll get brighter as they warm up. They kind of have a yellow hue to them. So it's not quite bright in here yet. I'm going to get the heater fired up and I got some kerosene for it. We're going to get the heater fired up, start warming this place up. And I got a few things I want to work on today. Nothing too major. I just got some ideas. We're just going to fiddle around and goof around with some stuff. I'll take you guys along on most of it. Yeah, we'll just keep you updated on what's happening in the shop. I'm hoping to be able to record a video or two today on some of these ideas. So those are the ones I probably will more keep you up with. The rest of them are just me goofing off, trying to figure things out. So it may not be that interesting. If it is, I'll show some footage. But I'm going to set this down now and get the heater going because it is gold. I immediately got back to work on some way to hang my jaws on the wall, and I really like this method. You can see I put a miter there. It's not glued together yet, but it just brings these closer together. Here's how they used to look, and right there and right there, those are the 2 points where I cut the 45 degree and squeeze them together. So I'm probably taking 3/4 of an inch out of there. So you take 3/4 of an inch, you got 4 of these, so that's 3 times. So that's that's 1.5 inches, 2¼ inches I'm taking out of there. So that really shrinks that down a little bit and takes a lot less space. This is another angle that I experimented with. The first cut I made didn't work out all that well, but I've got my stop set up and I can cut this angle, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut this angle on every one of them. Then we have to adjust the stop, because once we cut that angle, this normally butts against the stop, and then it cuts that. Well, now that that's shorter, it moves that in, so this side never makes it through the blade. So we're gonna work on getting all of those cut to the right angle, and then we'll make the adjustment, cut the other side, and start looking at some way to mount them. I'm real happy with how these are turning out, and I like, the more compact they are, the happier I'm gonna be. I just finished mitering the corners of all of my pieces, and of course they're only glued together at the 90s. I haven't glued the new cuts together yet. I think I might be in luck. I went up in the loft and I found this 1/4 inch piece of MDF, and it looks like a little dingle on the corner there, but it looks like this is about 12 inches by 12 inches, give or take, 1/8 of an inch or so. So I should be able to cut it down to size and make it fit, because I stacked them this way and they're about a little over 10 inches that way. And of course, side by side, they're 10 and 5/8. So I think this is going to work. I'll cut this, I'll measure it out, figure out my diameter, and then I'll go ahead and cut this to size. Or actually, what I think I may do, I may go ahead and glue everything to it based on maybe the right side there, and then come back and trim the left side and the bottom off. I think that'd be a little easier. The glue up has begun. I drug this piece of 1/4 inch out of the loft, and I'm just starting to glue. This is just the first glue up I just finished. That'll dry, and then we'll put the next 3 rows on, 1 row at a time. It's going to be a little trickier because of the depth, but we'll figure something out as we go. I may just have to lay some weight on top of them or something. Hey everybody, how are you doing? I took a little break. I've been working on the rack for my chuck jaws. Took a little break, and my wife and I ran over to one of the big box stores. And I got some sand because my driveway is very steep. You've kind of seen it when I've done outside stuff. And it's like a solid sheet of ice because it doesn't really get any sunlight, the way with the 2 garages, it sort of blocks it. So we had to, it was dangerous, right? And we couldn't get the cars in the garage. So got some sand, and everything is a lot better. We got some traction now. But I'm back out here. Let me show you where I'm at. I'm a little bit out of breath, but I've got 2 rows on. I'm getting ready to glue the 3rd row. There's 4 total, and then we'll clean it up. But yeah, that's going to be that's going to be great. I love it. Once I clean it up, I think it's going to be perfect for storing my jaws. I have been asked for this over and over again, and I've been reluctant to do it, but today I finally gave in, and I did a quick video on how I sharpen my skew. And I've been reluctant to do it because, I always tell you guys, there's not one way to do everything. And the people who are so single-minded and single-focused think there's only one way to do everything. And if you don't sharpen your tool this way, and you don't do something that way, you're doing it wrong. And that is incorrect and total baloney. I want you guys to know, and that's why I did this. Let me get this, switch hands here. That's why I did this today. is because I wanted to show this is what I do in my shop. This is how I put an edge on my skew, a nice sharp edge that gives me a gorgeous cut that I'm happy with. And that's all that matters. You get a good cut that you're happy with, that performs well in your shop, and you're doing it safely, then you're doing it the right way. I don't care what anyone tells you. Always remember what I told you. There's more than one way to do everything. Just be careful, be safe, and do it the way it works best in your shop. I want to give you guys a quick look at this. It's still got a little bit to go to dry, but there it is. That'll take 4 sets of jaws. I'm going to go ahead now and, well, I'm just going to let it dry for a while. Then, like I said, we'll trim that side off, we'll trim the bottom off, and probably drill a couple of holes like here and here, and maybe here and here so they're hidden. And then we'll get it mounted somewhere on this board. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the left side or the right side. I'm thinking maybe the right side. I haven't got as much done in the shop today as I wanted to because we had to take a break in the middle of the day and run to the store to get sand and for the driveway and all that kind of stuff. But it's just been a kind of a crazy day. I'll be back out here tomorrow as well. And I hope tomorrow to work more on this rack. Maybe I can get that finished tomorrow, and maybe I can break out a couple of other projects to share with you guys. I'm just wondering if you guys have noticed anything new about my shop in the last couple of seconds. There it is, the rack that I built to store the jaws for my chucks. Now, I built this thing, and when I built it, I did not have this set of jaws. These just came in today. They are jaws for my Barracuda chuck for drilling blanks, right? I did have a set of 2 for my Technitool, my Nova chuck, and if I use those, I had 4 slots at the bottom for the jaws that are currently on the chuck. Now I honestly need probably 1 more rack to store my jaws because I'm always going to have 2 that have nowhere to go. But you know what? We can work around that. I am super happy with how this turned out. And you'll notice I've cleaned off the shelf except for the drill bits. We're going to start looking at how we can purpose the other items to be more accessible. These items were on that shelf. I'm going to put the blanks with my other blanks. This will have to go back up there, but I'm thinking about running a couple of screws in it and mounting it on the backer board because, that's just where I put odds and end bushings. Most of these are bushings for the Sierra, and I just use them for, now I use them for pressing or finishing or whatever. I don't use my good bushings. I keep those put away. And the rest of the stuff that was on that shelf is right here. All of these goodies were on that shelf. Some of them belong over there, some of them don't, but I've got to start going through this box and figuring out what I want to mount and how I want to mount it on that backer board so that we can really clean that area up.